Hello and welcome to another episode of Driven by Doing. Today we have Piyush Verma. Piyush, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Venki. I'm honored to be here in your show and very excited to answer your questions.
Thank you so much for really spending some time with us today to tell you about your story. So Piyush is the founder of Manush Labs, which is a social accelerator which helps entrepreneurs back in India. And he's also Forbes 30 under 30 in 2021. So congratulations on that, Piyush.
Thank you, Venki.
So now let's coming back to your story, Piyush. You did your bachelor's in architecture. So tell us a little bit more about your background and how did you find your passion in design, first of all?
Yeah, you rightly said my undergrad was in architecture, and architecture in itself is a very broad field, right? Because we are trying to solve problems of the society, and it's a sector agnostic field. So while I was doing my architecture studies, we were participating in a lot of competitions which dealt with different problems, right? Some of them were environment related, some of them were social problems, sociology related. So it gave me a broad understanding of the overall problems in the society. And then I went on to study design, which is again a sector agnostic field where we are trying to solve the problems which we usually face by using creativity. And then I went to a few countries. I went to Germany. I worked there for some time, and then I went to MIT to pursue my masters and also do the research work as a Tata Fellow. And my project at MIT was basically centered around helping the government and World Bank uh, to improve their water planning processes. So that was my project at MIT. And meanwhile, I was working on a couple of entrepreneurial projects. One of them was called the MIT India Initiative, in which the idea was to co-create a culture of entrepreneurship and hands-on learning in India. And I was leading that program, and I brought around 30 researchers from Harvard and MIT to India through that program. And while we were doing that, we realized that there are a lot of people in India who have the passion to solve the problems for society, but they're not getting the right kind of motivation and the right kind of support system that is required for them to achieve their goals. Because many of these people come from small towns and cities of India, and there the exposure to such resources is very limited. Our idea was to actually help these people to nurture their ideas and to reach a level where they are able to execute them and go out to the real world, with their ideas. And Also another idea is to actually bridge the gap between the international knowledge system and the international investor and mentor community with the one in India. And That's what we are trying to do through this initiative.
That's awesome and amazing job from what you have been able to achieve so far. And I'm sure like, this is just your beginning, what you would be able to achieve and help so many entrepreneurs across the world one day. And one thing that you talked about is starting off with your design and having that exposure at very early on in your career to work on these global problems. So, how did that impact you in order to be able to create the initiatives that you're working on currently, Piyush?
As a designer, as I said, we are exposed to a lot of problems of society, and a designer is what people say is basically a jack of all trades and master of none, which which is partly true because we are dealing with problems of different sectors, right? It can be healthcare, it can be urban livability. It can be food, agriculture, whatever. So designers have that kind of mindset where They look at the problem holistically, bringing together different disciplines and different knowledge systems together. And even you see some organizations like the MIT Media Lab, where I was working at MIT, where different disciplines and people from different backgrounds come together to solve a problem. And I think that is something that has helped me in my background in design, and my kind of intention to work towards a problem by thinking about it as a problem and not as a discipline has helped a lot, bringing together this initiative. And I feel that this is the right kind of approach. Let's say if there is a problem, and if you think that this is a problem of physics, and you only apply the concepts of physics to that problem, it might not be you might not be able to solve. But if you say that this is not just a problem of physics, this is a problem of politics, this is a problem of sociology, and you bring all these different people together to solve that problem, then you are looking at the entire system. And systems thinking is a crucial component of design thinking, right? So that has helped me kind of uh, achieve this I mean do what we are doing with Manush Labs.
That's again fantastic, Piyush. So you talked about researching at MIT Media Lab. I mean, we have seen some amazing things and research that is coming out of MIT, and having that opportunity while doing your program at MIT and being a Tata Scholar at MIT would definitely expose you to a lot more than let's say other programs at different other universities. So now that you were able to start helping these entrepreneurs, and now you just began this initiative to help entrepreneurs in the last 1 year, and you just finished your first cohort of members. So what are some of the lessons that you wanted to share, or that you learned yourself by helping these entrepreneurs in this first program?
Yeah, that's a great question, Venki. There are a lot of lessons learned, and while we were trying to support these entrepreneurs, we were also growing in the process. Um, so first of all, I think the biggest lesson that we learned is that um, problems need to be first of all understood very deeply before we try to solve them. And so many of these entrepreneurs, they have been talking to those to the users and understanding their problems and going uh, deep inside the problem. And we realize that that is actually the right way to solve a problem. To first of all talk to the people, spend time with them, understand their experiences, understand their cultural kind of differences. And then once you have the in-depth understanding of the problem, then you should try to solve it, not before that. So this is the biggest lesson that we learned after doing this program. And also we realized that entrepreneurship uh, is a very difficult exercise, where um, there are different stakeholders, and you cannot say that if you go on a particular route, right? Point from point A to B, you have 100 different ways to reach your goal. So you have to be very flexible around how you reach that point. Sometimes one path won't work, so you have to take another path, and that path also won't work, so you have to take another path. So you have to be very flexible, you have to be very open minded. You have to embrace all the changes that will happen during the process. And you have to be almost biased towards execution. So you have to kind of think about all the solutions, and then you have to basically execute, and then you might fail a lot of times, but you will have to keep executing and be open minded. So yeah, this is another
Absolutely.
lesson.
So now that you are specifically focused on sustainability, and we see a lot of entrepreneurs, especially like students who wanted to build or create innovations. Typically, they go into an entrepreneurial journey where they start building companies. But you took a different approach at very early on in your career where you wanted to help other entrepreneurs with your expertise and a lot of researchers in your network. So tell us a little bit more about like how you came up with this idea, Piyush. So because like as I mentioned, like we typically go into an entrepreneurial route whenever we try to solve some problems, but this is your entrepreneurial journey where you started seeing problems what other entrepreneurs are facing in this area that you are super passionate about. So tell us a little bit more how you came up with this idea.
Yeah, so that's again a great question, Venki. Uh, I came up with this idea because I saw a gap in the ecosystem, and I faced these problems myself. So before starting Manush Labs, I was trying to, when I was in India, I was trying to work on a few startup ideas, and at that time I struggled. I struggled to find the right kind of mentorship. I struggled to find the right kind of investors, and it was not just me, also my friends who were there with me at that time, coming from small towns and not having the right kind of support system. So it comes from very personal experience. And um, and then I spoke with my professors at MIT and told them that this is the problem that I faced, can we do something about it? Then they guided me in the right path, and they told me that yes, this is a big systems problem, where we have different stakeholders, but they are kind of disconnected with each other. So there are mentors who want to share their knowledge and who want to support budding entrepreneurs, but many a times they don't have the right platform to do that. Simultaneously, there are these entrepreneurs from remote parts of the country who have innovative ideas, who are passionate about their work, but they don't have the right mentors or the right kind of stakeholder access or market access or even investor access. um, so yeah, there is a big gap right there. And after speaking with a lot of people, so last year when I started conceptualizing this idea, I spoke with more than 100 people from different domains. So I spoke with people in the government, I spoke with people in the social sector. Of course, I spoke with a lot of entrepreneurs who are facing these problems. I spoke with a lot of investors. And after understanding the problems from different perspectives, I kind of started this program. And then my team, my advisors and everybody came together, and we got some partners who were interested to help us. And yeah, we started this. So so to answer your question again, it all started with my own personal journey and my own uh, experiences. And then it just people just came together and helped us.
That's great to hear your story, how you personally face this issue. I mean, especially myself coming from a tier two city in India, I could definitely relate to what you're saying because that's exactly the problem that I kind of faced myself in my own life. And especially after coming to the US and going to school here, that really helped me to get exposure. And but not a lot of students who can actually like come here or get this kind of exposure. But I think, as you rightly mentioned, going through that personal experience would definitely make it stick, right? That like a lot of times whenever we think about entrepreneurship and we think about a lot of ideas that people come up with, but not a lot of people actually take action against the problems that they might personally face because they feel like, let's say, somebody might have already solved it, or like there might be somebody who might be having a better idea. So there are like a lot of those things that keeps coming at the back of
Yeah,
our head, but you took
yeah,
action and started
yeah,
doing something about it.
yeah.
So tell us about how important it is for entrepreneurs to to take problems or challenges that they personally faced, and what kind of impact that actually have on them to be able to make it even more persistent to be able to solve those problems, Piyush, from your experience. Why is it
Yeah,
important?
yeah, definitely. I think it's one of the most crucial aspects of entrepreneurship, right? To feel the problem and to actually understand the complexities of it by personally facing, those problems. And if you see, most of the successful entrepreneurs, they are very empathetic about the problems that they're trying to solve. In many cases they have faced those problems themselves, and in cases where they have not, they have tried to dig deep into the user's journey and understand the problem very deeply. And this is the core component of entrepreneurship, I feel, because unless you understand the problem very very deeply, you won't be able to solve it to the right extent. So yeah, you're right. And also, at a broader level, what we are trying to do at Manush Labs is something that all Indians are facing. So it's a common problem, right? We are a country of almost 1.5 billion people, and right now most of the solutions have been designed by the top few thousand or a few lakh people, but they are not the ones who are actually facing the problems of the billions of people. So if we give the right kind of opportunity to the same people who are facing these problems, we will have a better chance of solving those problems, right? So let me give you this example that in a country of 1.5 billion people, let's say top 10% of the people are the ones who are currently designing the solutions for the rest of the country, and rest of the country is just the recipient of those solutions. So if, let's say, we give the opportunity to the middle population that has the technology access, that has the right kind of education, let's say even if they are 400 500 million people, and if they are given the right kind of opportunities, we are almost democratizing access uh, to them. And once they start creating solutions, um, our chances of making a substantial change in the society will be much higher. So that is the also the broad problem that we are trying to solve through this initiative.
Absolutely, Piyush. That's an amazing story that you mentioned. Like solving problems in that middle sector is super key
Yeah,
for actually
and
developing the
giving them the
economy.
opportunity to solve those problems, right?
Yes, because they
And
are
not,
the ones who are actually facing those problems. And just imagine the right kind of tools in those hands would actually make a lot of difference, as you rightly mentioned.
yeah.
So it is very critical to work towards this sustainability development goals, like clean tech, um, no poverty, climate change, and especially you just mentioned almost close to now 1.5 billion people, and now you're able to start working with these people who are building these kind of solutions, right? So, what is your strategy around going to tier two cities? Like, and is it your strategy to go even beyond that one day to be able to like go into the deeper roots in the society as well?
Yeah, so like in the first program, we have 25 startups, and majority of them come from tier 2 and tier 3 cities. There are startups and there are entrepreneurs who come from major metro cities as well, because we are trying to foster an inclusive entrepreneurial ecosystem, and we don't want to exclude anyone, but we want to make sure that the program is inclusive and everybody is no matter where they come from, have the opportunity to join our program. And yeah, definitely we do have the intention to reach out to even um, remote areas of the country in the coming years. We will definitely reach out to people who are from tier 3 tier 4 cities, even people from rural areas who have the passion for entrepreneurship. The challenge there is, of course, they don't have the right exposure right now to opportunities. And how do we connect with them, and how do we make them aware about such programs is kind of the biggest challenge. So yeah, of course, we'll work on that. We'll try to bring more people together and try to reach out to the government and local municipality and local colleges and spread the word through these local programs. That is one way to reach out to them. Other is, of course, social media has penetrated uh, to a lot of different small cities of India. We can use that. Uh, um, and of course, we can also use print media. Newspaper has a very good outreach in remote parts of the country. We will definitely use that in the future. So yeah, combination of all these things together.
That's amazing. Now that you got off the ground, and now you are also planning to penetrate into these deeper markets where education is very key, to let them know about these kind of opportunities, because not a lot of people know about these kind of programs that they can take advantage of. Now that you started off the programs, and from the other side, the investors or mentors who are helping these entrepreneurs, they are super critical to be able to like
Yeah.
establish this ecosystem. What kind of feedback that you are starting to get? Because now that you have seen a first cohort of members, what is the kind of feedback that you started getting from these investors or entrepreneurs, experienced entrepreneurs who have worked with these startups in the early stages?
Yeah, feedback has been great. Feedback is something that is very crucial for us at this point where we are just beginning, and um, we are getting both constructive uh, feedback, uh, and as well as very empowering um, thoughts from mentors and our advisors and investors. So let me give you an example. So one of my friends, she is an MIT graduate, and she's working with us as a mentor. She was quite surprised. She's not from India. She's from the US. So she was quite surprised after seeing the passion that these entrepreneurs have. In some cases they can't even speak English as fluently as we can, but still they are constantly reaching out to more and more people and trying to execute their idea, and they're not afraid of failure. So it's inspiring for the mentors as well, you know, that the people who have come from remote areas of the country and who don't have the right side of kind of exposure, they are also so keen and so passionate about solving these problems. So yeah, this is something that is motivating us to continue doing this, and getting these kind of positive feedback from mentors and investors is really motivating.
That's great for you. So once the entrepreneurs get selected for your program, what kind of walk us through that journey or the phases that you kind of designed for them to go through? And we also know that you kind of have a demo day at the end of the program. So walk us through that step-by-step phases that entrepreneurs who are listening to this podcast, if they get selected into a program like this, what can they expect?
Sure, that's a great question, Venki. Thank you for asking that. So our program comprises of six or seven different offerings. So starting from deconstruction rounds. So what we do in deconstruction rounds is we sit with the entrepreneurs. Of course, this is virtual, so we have virtual meetings, at least 2 hour long meetings at the beginning of the program with the entrepreneurs, trying to understand what their problems are and what their roadmap is for the coming few months, and then aligning our program with their needs and requirements. So in this deconstruction session, we do it regularly, um, every month of the program. And with this deconstruction session, the idea is to find the right match for the entrepreneurs, the right mentors, the right set of investors, and right set of stakeholders that we can give them. And in this process, we, of course, our team is there. We also involve right set of experts who help us dissecting the problems of the startups. And then second is of course mentorship. So we are fortunate that we have a big pool of mentors right now. So we make sure that all the entrepreneurs, they have at least one personal mentor who they interact with almost every week. And then in addition to that, we have office hours. So the mentors who are not personal mentors, but who have given us the time, we we kind of match them also with the entrepreneurs, and give the opportunity to the entrepreneurs to book the office hours with these. So these can be technical mentors. These can be mentors who have the cultural experience or the experience of the domain. Um, and sometimes the mentors um, uh, can just help them in communications or pitch practice. So the mentors can also be from different categories. And then after that, we do have regular workshops on design thinking, systems thinking, financial modeling, all these different core components of entrepreneurship. After that, we have investor sessions, because fundraising is still a major challenge that these entrepreneurs face. So we constantly do these practice demo days, or we call them pecha kucha sessions, where we invite seasoned investors, and these investors basically train these entrepreneurs how to pitch perfectly and how to convince the investors, to give funding to them. So, like for example, in the first program, we had two mini demo days, and we invited almost 2 dozen seasoned investors. So these are some of the most reputed investors in the country who we invite for these practice sessions. And once they are done with these sessions, then of course they are more prepared to go to the demo day, in which we invite, of course, hundreds of investors, like we did in the first program. So yeah, these are different parts of the program that we have. Of course, going ahead, we are going to increase more offerings and make it more, make it a better learning experience for the entrepreneurs.
So absolutely, that's a great phase. It's like how you explained what are the advantages going through your program, Piyush. Thanks for that. So once,
And yeah, of course, I should add one more thing.
yeah,
Stakeholder connection is another major component. So in many cases, these entrepreneurs, since they come from different parts of the country, they don't have access to the clients and the right set of stakeholders who can help them execute their ideas. So we also facilitate those stakeholder connections and market access. That is very crucial for the initial phases of the startup. Yeah, thank you.
so now that once people go through the program, what kind of support at the end of the program? Like, are they still the part of the community? Are they going to get the similar kind of programming experience, or like, especially after the demo day? How do they keep in contact with these mentors, these investors, so that they can continue to learn and progress in their ventures?
Yeah, so we have created a few alumni groups. One is one is very active group on WhatsApp, where all these entrepreneurs are involved. They share their achievements, they share their, whatever new things they achieve, and their accomplishments with each other. They also share, whatever new articles they've read, or some new knowledge they gain with each other. So that group is working all right. Um, but now that the program has officially ended, of course, the personal mentoring sessions are not there anymore. But the mentors and the stakeholders and the experts that we connected with these entrepreneurs, will be, those connections will always be there. So if these entrepreneurs want to go back to them at any point in time, we are of course very much willing to connect them to those people. And in many cases, they don't even need our support right now, because they have already established that confidence, right, and that connection. So and we were the catalyst for those interactions, and now I think it's their job to build on them, and to you know to grow those relationships. um, but yeah, we do want to involve these entrepreneurs in the upcoming programs, maybe as mentors to the budding entrepreneurs, or they can give some talks, or they can uh, uh, conduct some workshops. So yeah, I think alumni will be a very strong component of the program going ahead.
So, what kind of advice do you give to entrepreneurs who do not yet have the ideas, but they wanted to become social entrepreneurs who can tackle the biggest problems or the challenges that we face? I mean, especially in India, we know like how challenging sometimes these problems can look like, especially because of the mass volume or the population that we see there. So, what is your advice to entrepreneurs or who wanted to become entrepreneurs, Piyush?
Um, so I think the biggest advice can be summarized in one word, and that is execution. Um because you have faced that particular problem and you are curious about solving that problem, that means you have a good understanding about it. Now, what you need to do is you need to start executing. You need to start talking to the users. You need to start building your product. You need to start refining your idea. Getting more people involved, getting mentors on board, and yeah, working towards it. And it all starts with execution. So let's say now I can dissect it into different steps, right? So the first step is, if you have an idea, go and validate the idea. Go and talk to the users, as many users as possible. So 10, 20, 50, 100, the more users you talk to, the better your idea will get. And after you have a good understanding of the idea, start building a prototype or a solution around it. Then again, go back to the users and show it to them and tell them that this is what I've made. Would you be willing to solve it, to use it? Would you be willing to pay for it? If you're not willing to pay for it, what can I do to make it better? If you're not willing to use it, what can I do to make it better for you, so that you can use it in a more efficient manner. All right. So this includes the entire user research process. That is the first step. In fact, that the step before that is ideation, that you do with yourself. So you take a piece of paper, you take a pen, and then you write down all the ideas that you have in mind. And then you basically try to understand what is the best idea, and then take some of the best ideas to the users, and then narrow it down to a few solutions, and then build prototypes. Then validate the idea with the users. Once you have a prototype, a developed prototype, then you basically try to reach out to some experts who have worked in that particular field, or who have the domain expertise to further better it. And yeah, and then start uh, trying to approach the users again, and try to convince them to buy it, or to subscribe to your uh, uh, digital product, or whatever it is. And once you get a few subscriptions, and once you start getting a few users, then you start building your team. Then you maybe get a few people involved in your team who can help you in marketing, who can help you in product development, and you build a team. And then you basically make the product better and get more and more users involved. I think funding is something that is not necessary in the first phase of the product. If you have money, use your money. Don't get the investors involved. Only try to raise money once you have a structure in place, and you think that that structure can be scaled substantially. Then probably you should start thinking about raising money. Before that, I don't think it's necessary to a great extent. But yeah, summarizing the entire thing, start executing. It won't happen if you just keep thinking about it. You have to start working on it.
That's amazing. Thanks for such a great advice for all the entrepreneurs or who wanted to become entrepreneurs to start executing things, taking action, doing that customer discovery and customer research at the very
Yeah.
early stages, and validating their idea is very key for their success of their project. So that's a great advice. Now, my next question to you, Piyush, is how much of your success do you attribute it to the mentorship that you got over the years throughout your journey or the experience that you had so far?
A lot. I mean, whatever confidence I have and whatever I've achieved is it's because of the mentors that I got early in my life. And I think mentorship, people underestimate it a lot. It is very, very crucial for an entrepreneur to have the right kind of guidance. Because as entrepreneurs, we are very passionate, and sometimes that passion can drive us in the wrong direction. And it's very important for us to have somebody who can guide us in the right direction. And uh, uh, and yeah, it's very important.
Absolutely. I think I attribute most of my success to a lot of great mentors who helped me and guided me to whatever the things that I was able to achieve so far. And you're absolutely right. I think there's a lot of value to mentors and mentorship, and a lot of people need to be able to connect with these people. Especially given the technology, we were able to easily reach out to other people. But a lot of
Yeah.
times, especially back in India, I myself can relate to this again. Is the self motivation or the confidence is sometimes very low because a lot of times we are afraid of asking people for help. But on the other side, people are always looking to help you. We need
Yes.
to do is ask. So that's one thing
Yes.
that I kind of realized over the years. Sometimes we always need to take that one step forward to be able to just ask for people. I mean, like if we ask 10 people, there'll be at least 2 or 3 people who would be responding to us. And that is
Yes.
exactly what is needed for an entrepreneur, because we need to talk to a lot of people and ask for help, because that's the only way that we would be validate our ideas. Because we think that, hey, no, this is the product that I wanted to build, but these are the users that are going to be served with this product. Again, doing that research, getting that mentorship in early stages, as you rightly mentioned, is super key. Thanks a lot for sharing that great advice again. So where can people find or reach out to you or to learn more about Manush Labs?
I think the best way would be LinkedIn. Like you reached out to me on LinkedIn, and I responded quickly. So I think LinkedIn is the best platform. I'm very active on it. I don't use Instagram so much, or other platforms like Twitter, but I'm very active on LinkedIn. So please feel free to reach out to me there. And also, the Manush Labs email address is available on our website. You can definitely reach out to us if you have questions related to the program. If you want to reach out to me personally, then of course LinkedIn is a great way.
Yes. So definitely, I'm going to post all those details in the description at both the YouTube and the podcast as well. So definitely reach out to Piyush. He's such a great personality to talk to and learn from his entrepreneurial journey. And I'm sure each one of you who are listening or watching this video definitely have learned so much from this episode. Thanks again, Piyush, for taking some time to actually talk to us and share your experience and expertise with all the audience. And I'm sure you're going to help so many entrepreneurs in the coming years. And I wish you all the very best. Do you have any final words or thoughts for our audience?
Thank you, Venki. It's been an honor to share my ideas and my experiences with you and the audience. And I would definitely appreciate, if these people who are in the audience right now, they act on their ideas, and they become successful entrepreneurs, and they solve problems of society. So yeah, thank you so much.
Absolutely. Thanks a lot again, Piyush, for coming on to the show today.
Thank you.